Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabs. For those of you that don't know, I'm a lover of all things weird and creepy. For those of you that do know, thanks for coming back. This is a part 2 video to my McKamey Manor experience. If you haven't yet seen part 1, pause this video, I'll link it down below, go watch that first, and then come back here. This video is going to be more of a story time type video. Some of you guys wanted more of a chronological situation, so I did my best. I have my little notebook. I got my notes right here, so I'm going to try to walk you through this the best that I can. I want to include a quick disclaimer that everything that I talk about in this video that has nothing to do with me is all alleged. I also want to include a trigger warning for anybody that's triggered by a conversation of violence or torture. This video is not for you. Go ahead and click away now. So with that being said, I think we should just get right into the video. So I think it's best to start from the beginning. I moved to Southern California in 2014. That is where I discovered McKamey Manor. I discovered it like most people that watch YouTube videos. I was looking for haunted houses because it was the fall and I wanted something creepy to do. Scary movies, they're scary, but not really. Normal haunted houses are scary, but not really. I used to work at one, so I know all the tricks. I wanted something more intense. So I think I searched like scariest haunted houses in the US or something like that. I don't know how I found what the exact search was, but McKamey Manor popped up and I saw that it was in San Diego, California. So I started watching all the videos that I could. Keep in mind, I don't know why a lot of people aren't understanding this. The videos that you see now on YouTube from 2015, 2016, 2017, I did not have those videos to look at for reference. The videos that I saw on YouTube were from the old haunt. I also want everyone to know that I learned about the haunt, watched a ton of videos. That same day at 2 a.m. is when I sent him the message. And then the day after that is when he responded, or I guess that same day later in the evening, he responded and told me I could come the next day. So it wasn't like I'd been searching on this subject or searching on McKamey Manor for days or months or years. It's something that I found, I thought was cool, and then I blinked and I was there. So I discovered it on YouTube. I got sucked into a dark hole. The videos were of the old haunt where you started at the front door of the house, Carol told you a story, and Carol is his ex-partner, and then you walked through the house. It was physical, people tied you up, you got pushed around a little bit, and that was something that I was intrigued by. So in my mindset, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. It's like your own scary movie. I would love to survive my own scary movie. So I go to the website, I follow the instructions that said you had to join a Facebook group that was called the New Reservations Facebook group, add Russ on Facebook, and then essentially just wait. In this Facebook group, they would release, or they wouldn't release, they would post and say, hey, there are 2 spots at Friday at this time. The first 2 people to comment get in the haunt. That's just kind of how it worked. Once I was in the group, I realized how many people were in there, like 20,000 people, I think, were in the Facebook group. Like there were a lot of people in this Facebook group just waiting for their turn through the haunt. I didn't realize what I was getting myself into, so I wanted to get in sooner. I saw how many people were in the group. I didn't want to wait, I'm not gonna lie. So I messaged Russ on Facebook and I was like, hey, I love scary movies. I want to make scary movies. I would love to be involved in this haunt. He messaged me back at like 7 or 8 in the evening that same day and said, hey, 2 people someone dropped out. There's a slot open tomorrow night if you want to do it. I had a family event happening that day, so I was like, I can't do it. There's a family event. Is there any other time that I'd be able to go? And he said, this is the only chance. This is how big the wait list is. It's now or never, basically. So I talked to my parents and I said, hey, this is something that I really want to do. I showed them the videos. I showed them that like the news had been covering it. I'm pretty sure Travel Channel did something on it. It was something that like people knew about. It wasn't just like a sketchy guy. So I thought. So I talked to my parents. They're like, okay, whatever, you can do it. And then my plan was to drive to San Diego the next day. So I messaged Russ back and I'm like, okay, I can go. He gives me his number. He says, give me a call. We'll chat about the haunt. On this phone call, he talked about basically what needed to happen that day. He gave me the address of where to meet them. He gave me instructions. I was supposed to get a name tag that said, hello, my name is. I was supposed to bring dog food. I was supposed to wear a Halloween costume. And then this phone call as well is when he mentioned the people in Vegas. He said that they would be able to pay to have things happen to us inside the haunt, and that he would be live streaming. He was just like letting me know that that was going to happen. And no red flags clicked. Again, I'm 19, obviously very naive and kind of dumb. And then I'm basically set to go to the haunt this next day. There was I didn't have to go see a doctor beforehand. I didn't get drug tested. I didn't have to see a psychiatrist beforehand. He didn't give me a questionnaire to fill out. I didn't see the waiver beforehand. All of those things that I see in the comments, people saying this and this and this. No, that's not accurate. I had a quick conversation with him. I told him I was afraid of spiders. And then the next day I was headed down to San Diego. So as I'm headed there, I'm messaging him on Facebook. Like, I'm nervous. He said, you should be. He called me and my partner that went through the haunt with me, his little test subjects. And again, no red flag clicked yet. It took me going back years later and reading our like Facebook conversations to realize how kind of messed up not only Russ is, but like the entire situation that is McKamey Manor. So I told him I couldn't find the Hello My Name tags are. I was like, is that okay? He said, yeah. I asked how much dog food. He said, whatever you want to bring is fine. So I bought the dog food in San Diego because I didn't have a dog. And then I sent him a picture once I got to the park, which is where the address took me. And I sent him a picture of the bleachers. And I was like, I'm here. He said, are you nervous? I said, yeah, I'm nervous. And I waited in my car and I filmed the first video that I filmed. And I was just like, hey, I'm ready for McKamey Manor. I'll film a video after, blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember what I said in it. And then I stayed in my car until I saw the person that was supposed to go through the haunt with me walk up to the bleachers. I wasn't just going to go sit by myself. So then when I saw her, I was like, okay, cool. We introduced ourselves, talked about how we found the manor. We were both really nervous. We hadn't met each other before this. And then we hear a car pull up and an actor gets out of the car and he says in like a very aggressive tone, like, don't look at me, don't turn around, keep looking straight ahead. And he gave us an envelope that had the waiver in it. It had like a hat in it, like a hat that went all the way down to cover our eyes. I'm not sure if we had headphones over our ears. I'm not sure if the headphones were in the envelope or if he just gave us those separately, but we had headphones on or we had to put them on before we got in the van. But Russ was in the van and the actor had like a walkie-talkie. So Russ was talking to us through the walkie-talkie. He told us to read the waiver, asked us if we understood what it said. And then basically after that is when we got in the van. The waiver that I signed is not the waiver that's going around. It was like a 2-page waiver, very basic, like you're gonna interact with strobe lights, there's gonna be pushing and shoving and blah, blah, blah. It was just like, it wasn't anything that made me think, oh goodness, they might like waterboard me, they might cut my hair. Like there wasn't anything, or I guess cutting my hair isn't that bad, but there wasn't anything like the new waiver. Basically, we can pull your teeth out, we can break your bones, like none of that was in it. So again, I'm not expecting anything crazy. After that, he put us in the back of the van and that's when everything started. It just got like, they were yelling at us. They were like pushing our heads down. When we get out of the van, I remember like I was pushed to the ground. We had to crawl through, I don't even know what they were, like little square metal things, like little cages. And then we got into the garage. And then when we were in the garage, that was the first time that we saw Russ. And he had us take our little eye things up. And I will never forget the look on his face the first time I saw him. And he had this little head thingy, like a little light around his head, and it just was like that. And then he had his little camera, which he would just shove in your face and be like, are you scared? But when that was the first time that we met him, and that was when he told us to say hi to the people in Vegas. I know that this is on my video that he posted. I haven't watched it since the very first time that I watched it, but I know that it stood out to me because like months after, he started to say that the people in Vegas weren't real, and then he said that they were real. But I distinctly remember him saying, say hi to the people in Vegas, and I was like, hi. And then after that, the haunt started. I'm going to do my best to give you guys as much detail as I can because I don't know a chronological order of what happened. I don't know everything that for sure happened because I was blindfolded for most of it, and a lot of it was just pushing and shoving. A lot of what was cut out of the video was kind of just the unnecessarily rough stuff that happened, and then a good amount of the water torture was cut out as well. A lot of people said, why was it cut out? I genuinely don't know, but I was in there for 6 hours and my video is like an hour long, and a lot of it is just like little clips and then like a clip of text. So it's definitely not my full tour. I don't know what he cut out. I don't know why he cut it out. But the things that I do remember happening to me, I remember being waterboarded, which is not a good experience at all. I remember the spider on my face, which a lot of people are upset about. I remember just lots of water stuff. So in more detail, this haunt took place in his house and on his like property, like in his backyard, just anywhere in his house, like his garage, every room was used. It was a combination of animatronics. It was a combination of pushing. It was a combination of, I don't even know how to explain it. It wasn't like I was in my own scary movie. It was almost just like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it because there were moments in the haunt, again, 6 hours, where I was scared. I was like actually scared, like because of what was happening. But then I was mostly just like numb, trying not to freak out. I did have a panic attack in the haunt when I was in the big deep freezer and they locked me in. I had a moment of like, oh my goodness, what if they don't let me out? And then he did let me out and he asked me if I wanted to leave. And I said no. It'd been like an hour at this point. The reason I said no, part of me was waiting for something. Part of me was waiting for something big to happen, like something really scary where I was like, okay, this is like why I came here. And that never really happened. It was more just like a whole bunch of random stuff. I remember me and my partner, we didn't talk a lot, but if we did talk, we were just like asking if the other one was okay because we weren't necessarily allowed to talk. We would have gotten like hit or shoved or whatever. I'm saying so much. They spit in my face. I got choked. My hair was pulled. I said this in the last video. A guy put his fingers in my mouth and ripped my head to the side. Spit fake blood into my mouth. Just like really weird stuff. Like nothing that's like, oh, this is a haunted house. It's more just like, this is like someone's weird fantasy. At one point in time during the haunt, he would ask Heather or I, like, well, who's this gonna happen to? But then he would only ask Heather, and she would always pick me if it was something, because of course she didn't want to do it. So I just remember being separated from her a lot and like being put in water. I was put in a kiddie pool, I think it was, like one of those plastic round ones, and there was something on top of it that did not allow me to get out, and somehow we got into straitjackets. I don't really remember when the straitjackets happened, but we were in straitjackets, so like this, and then they put chains around our neck, and they put me in the kiddie pool, and I knew that if I laid all the way down in the pool, that the water would basically be going up my nose. So while I was in there, I basically had to keep my head up as like long as I could so I could like breathe air, but also I couldn't get up, and I only had about this much space because of the thing that was over me. And as I was doing this too, this is like outside of the waterboarding, they would then pour water on my face while I'm trying to like keep my head above water. There was a situation where the little freezers that they have for ice cream at gas stations with the slide tops, it was in like the kitchen, and they had us walk in the kitchen and look for stuff. And I was like nervous to look for stuff because I was like, nothing's happening right now. And this is obviously when someone's going to pop out. And sure enough, one of the actors popped out and he choked me, slammed me on top of the freezer. There's a picture of that actually. I'll put the picture right here. But he slammed me on the freezer, was screaming at me, choking me. Like, it's like everything that I remember is in like flashes. Like I can remember a flash of it, but I don't remember the full moment. I don't know if that makes sense. But then he put me into it and it had water. And of course, this much room to breathe. Once the top was closed, he closed the top. He wouldn't let me out. I was basically sitting in there like this, trying to breathe. And then he would open the top, put his hand on my head, and then shove me and hold me underwater. And then he'd let me back up and close the top. And it was just like things like that. After my tour, things got significantly worse. So I'm not saying this thinking that my tour was the worst tour. I know that my tour wasn't, because my tour was the first tour and it only got worse after that. But the things that happened and like the way that Russ and the actors and just how it was just wasn't, it didn't seem, I don't know how to explain it. I didn't see anything wrong with it necessarily, but like in the moment, but it also wasn't what I expected it to be. So we're having all these things happen to us, and Russ kept going in and out of these moments of like being really creepy and then being really sweet. So like when Heather and I were eating things, I talk about it more, I think, in my last video. There was a moment where he like gave us a slice of pizza and we were having like a real conversation with him. And then he'd like snap right back and we'd be moving on to the next room or something like that. I do remember that they had like the animatronic of the guy that's in the electric chair, and they had him in like a cage, but then they made us sit in front of the cage, and as he started to freak out, they were like shoving our faces into the side of it. I had like a bruise on my forehead. Someone was like, the video that you made the day after, I couldn't see the bruise. Bro, it's called makeup. I'm not gonna record a YouTube video covered in bruises. You can definitely tell by my ratchet eyebrows that I had makeup on. But it's just like so much of it was just so interesting. And to see how it has since progressed and how bad it really got, I feel really guilty about making a video telling people to do it. And I feel very, very guilty about being involved in the Facebook group. So I'll get to the Facebook group. But basically, when the haunt was over, there was no me quitting, which is another reason I get annoyed, because he says that there's not been so many survivors. He doesn't call Heather and I survivors, but we didn't quit. He literally looked at us and said, it's too late. We have to stop like the tour. Like, sorry. It was just like literally like that. Put us back in the van, took us back to the bleachers, did our exit interview where he recorded us, asked about it. I am again just like, this is awesome, so cool. Hadn't processed it, didn't really understand what had just happened. Again, 6 hours. I don't know how to explain how I was feeling in the 6 hours. But me and Heather said goodbye. They say goodbye. I get in my car. I drive home. I don't listen to anything. I just kind of drive. I'm just there. I'm existing. I'm breathing. And I get home. I sleep. I wake up the next day and I make a video and upload it to the internet. Gave Russ the link. He posted it in the No Reservation Facebook group that had tons of people in it. And then the next day my video blew up, which brought more attention to McKamey Manor than it already had. So this kind of leads me into why I had the relationship, the friendship that I did with Russ. I was kind of his assistant for a little bit. I had all the information for his YouTube. I was running the YouTube page. He basically wanted me to look through comments and delete all of the negative comments or respond to the negative comments, whichever I wanted to do. He also wanted me to look through his YouTube messages because he was getting tons of messages on YouTube. I don't even know if that's still a thing. This is like how out of date I am. But back when, I think you could send messages on YouTube, he'd get lots of people trying to reach out to him for interviews. Lots of people in the comments wanting to reach out for interviews. I basically was supposed to get their contact information, give it to Russ, and filter all that stuff. He also made me an admin of the Facebook group where I was allowed to accept or deny members to the Facebook group. There weren't a ton of admins when I first started, and we were considered Russ's sidekicks. We knew the ins and outs of McKamey Manor. You had to be special to be in this little group. And that's kind of where things started to shift for me. I noticed the tour started to get worse, as far as like not just years after my tour, but even a month after my tour, people were leaving with significantly worse bruises than I'd had, like already really black. Their faces are more swollen, teeth are chipped, noses are broken, different things like that started to happen. Again, I'm like, okay, I haven't been through the tour in months. Like, I don't know what it is now. Maybe he's changed it. Again, no, still not thinking there's an issue, because I'm like, you guys, they signed up for it. What else did they expect is kind of my thought process. Again, not realizing how manipulative and how not okay the situation was. And then it became like anyone that wasn't for McKamey Manor was against it. Even if you weren't against it, if you weren't for it, the rest considered you a hater. So if people on Facebook, or if people were in the no reservation or the new reservation group, when they said something negative, Russ would like put them on blast. All right, my camera just died, so let's see if I can get through this quickly. He would, if someone spoke out against him in any way, whether it be just on Facebook or in the Facebook group, he would send people to attack this person on Facebook. He would actually like screenshot their post or their profile or their comment or whatever it was that made him upset. He would post it on his personal page and tag them in it, and then encourage people in the comments to just like bully this person essentially. There was actually, like, he encouraged it a lot, and there was a point in time where we had all these different Facebook group messages, like one between me and Russ and Carol and the admins, and then like some other admins, but not all of them. They're just like all these different Facebook groups. And in one of the groups, Carol got upset with us for being rude in the comments. I had pulled away at this point. I'd stopped interacting on Facebook just because there was so much drama. It was, we're going to attack this person. We're going to attack this person. So it wasn't necessarily the things in the haunt that were going on that pulled me away. It was just the drama around it. It became McKamey Manor versus the world, and the haunts did get very, very bad. But I was not paying attention to the haunts at this point. I was just sucked into this world of controlling the Facebook group, which became its own world in a sense. But I pulled away from the Facebook group. I don't know if the surviving life videos are up still, but if they are, I'll link them down below. Carol's experience, I can validate 100% everything that she's saying, because at one point in time there was a Facebook group with a select group of people and Carol, and it was basically us trying to help Carol get out of a very abusive situation. It's like all this crazy stuff is happening, and I'm sitting here like, what the heck is this Facebook group that I'm in? What is this group that I'm involved with? I thought that I was in this cool experience of this haunted house. Now I feel like I'm a part of this cult where I couldn't really talk about anything that happened, but I was supposed to get a whole bunch of people to want to do it. And it took me going back and looking through all of the Facebook groups and reading all of the messages, because I still have access to them, to kind of click in my brain that what was happening was not normal. This wasn't a professional haunted house. This wasn't an extreme haunt. This was Russ McKamey using this as an outlet to get his fantasies, to do what he wants to do to people, to have this power over people, which is not okay. So I am no longer involved with McKamey Manor in that sense. I'm still a part of the Facebook group, but it's no longer his Facebook group. It got turned into a group of people against the manor. So I'm still involved in that group. But I'm pretty sure there was another group created. I think it's been, or me rewind. I know for a fact there was another group created. I think that it's since been deleted. I watched Loie Lane's new video, and before I even continue, huge shout out to Loie Lane and Ron of Surviving Life for actually taking the time to communicate with victims and do their research before just making a video on the internet for views with false information. If any of their videos, well, I know Loie's are up, but if any of Ron's videos are still up, I'll put them down below. I'll link all of Loie's videos down below as well. But thank you to you two for actually taking the time to do this correctly and being mindful that this is a real experience that real people went through. This isn't just some fake YouTube video that was put up. This is a real experience that me and many others have had to deal with. There's no $20,000 reward. There's no storyline to follow. It's literally just Russ seeing what he can legally get away with Like, that's it. He's trying to torture people. He's trying to stay just on the line of what's legal. The group became a really toxic place. There was just so much hate. I got hate when I pulled away. I got hate when I liked McKamey Manor. There's just hate if you're involved with this haunted house in any way, and it's kind of overwhelming. The creators that have millions of views that are spreading false truths just to get the views because they're crazy false truths are making it very hard for victims to speak out, because your lies mixed with the lies that Russ are saying make the truth almost impossible to know. So with that being said, I think I'm going to stop talking about the tour, and I'm just going to answer the questions I got from you guys on YouTube, on Twitter. I have questions on my computer. I have questions on my phone. So I think I'm just going to do that right now. This basically just says you were injected with something. Can you talk about it? Because we can see it. And I know at one point like a prop syringe was used, a prop needle, basically, that when you push the needle in, it goes back into the top. It doesn't go into the skin, but it gives the illusion that it pierces the skin. That's what they used. I'm super into tattoos and piercings, so I 100% would have felt a needle go into my neck. I can promise you that didn't actually happen. It's just an illusion. It's just even his daughter talked about in an interview that he likes to do a lot of movie tricks, and that was one of the movie tricks. You don't win money at the end. Was it a lie? Yes, the money's a lie. There's no $20,000. Russ is broke. He has no money. There's no $20,000. How did you not understand what he was doing? Being an admin, yet his videos were blasted on YouTube for years. Longer than the haunt was posted. I call BS on this. Either you're just as crazy as him or also have a weird fantasy of being tortured. No. I knew that the tour was getting worse, but every person that went through the tour at the time loved it. I was involved in the Facebook group and then the comments of the YouTube page, so I was not personally watching all of the videos that were going on. I saw clips that were posted in the Facebook group, but my number one job as being an admin was to just monitor the Facebook group. So if I was involved in any way, it was monitoring the Facebook group. I am friends with people on Facebook that went through the haunt that said they loved it, that have now said that it's something that they wish they wouldn't have done, or it's an experience that now they look back on it and they're saying, oh, that wasn't okay. So it's not just me having this moment. It's multiple people who have gone through the haunt. It's the manipulation that started before and during and after the haunt. Did we have bathroom breaks? No, we didn't get bathroom breaks, but I honestly did not have to pee. And I think it's just because my body was just trying to like the fight or flight mode, and I was just trying to fight through it, and I wasn't focused on having to pee. I wasn't focused on being hungry. I was just focused on paying attention to what was going on. That's all I was worried about. Why am I making it 5 years later? I made 2 videos on it that were positive that got a ton of hate. And it's even taken me this long to make this second video to the first one because of the amount of hate I got in the video that I just posted, talking out about my experience, people saying that I deserved it, it's my fault, blah, 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 that I liked it before. So it's been hard to make a video. I just now feel comfortable because creators have started talking about it in the way that it needs to be talked about. Basically looking at it in a different light, not so much like a people that went through this deserved it, but more of a Russ McKamey needs to be stopped, which is why I'm making it, because I think that Russ McKamey needs to be stopped. Okay, so this question asked if after we were dropped off to the bleachers, if my partner and I talked afterwards and if we kept into contact after. I'm still friends with her on Facebook. We talked a little bit afterwards, not extensive conversation. I messaged her on Facebook because Russ was worried that she'd been affected negatively by the haunt. So I reached out, asked her if she was cool. She said she was cool. I reached out with her. Sorry guys, my brain. I reached out to her before I filmed the first video that I did, or not the first, I guess. The most recent video that I did, and asked her if she wanted me to include her in it, if she wanted me to say anything for her in it, and she didn't reach back out to me. I have no hard feelings by that at all. It's completely understandable. I don't think I should probably see the question. So the question is how I didn't know that it was so messed up while I went through it. And I think the reason that it took me so long, it was reading back through the messages, all of the group messages, all of the conversation with Russ, the conversation with Carol, all the conversations with all of the admins. It was literally just rereading those comments and then watching other people's experiences on YouTube that kind of, it clicked in my brain and I was like, oh goodness, everything that's happening right now is not okay. Another question that I got was, what did you expect going into it? And they said they didn't mean it like negatively, they're genuinely curious. And I think I expected a haunt with a storyline, like literally survive your own scary movie. That's what he was telling me. That's what I was expressing that I would love to have happen. But that's not what it was. It wasn't I live my own scary movie. It was I am just tortured by Russ McKamey. So I guess I just expected like a haunted house that's more extreme. Like they can touch you, they can grab you, they can push you, they can shove you. But it all had a storyline and it all made sense and it was professional and it was controlled and you could get out. That's what I expected. The next question, did you actually enjoy it at any point? Honestly, I'm not sure if I enjoyed it at any point. I didn't hate it necessarily at any point. Like there wasn't a point in the haunted house where I said like, oh, Russ McKamey is stupid, this haunt is stupid, I want out, blah, blah, blah. But there also wasn't a moment of, I love this so much, you know? So why did he lie and say no one's ever finished? Russ McKamey is a liar, and I will leave it at that. What other injuries did I get? I didn't get any significant, like, have to go to the hospital or doctor injuries. Say hi to Biscuit. Hi, Biscuit. I know. I didn't get any significant injuries. I was bruised, I was cut up, I had a really bad headache, might have had a concussion, but I was basically just beat up for 6 hours. Again, not to the extent of the tours after mine, but still not good. Do you think Heather might have been working with McKamey Manor as an actor? No, I don't think she was, just because once we went through the tour, she wanted zero involvement with it. She wasn't involved in any other haunt. She had no communication with Russ, which is why Russ reached out to me because he said he was worried about Heather because she was not responding to his messages. Someone said, this is just, I just want to read it to clarify that this, every time I talk about it, it comes off as scattered and all over the place. And it's because this is something that's really hard to talk about. There were so many details that I don't remember until I start talking about it more, and then I start to remember things, and then I feel like I have to go backwards. So if this does feel scatterbrained or all over the place, I apologize. I really am doing my best, but I've been sitting here for 5 hours now trying to film this, and it's not been easy. Is this guy in jail? No, he's still out. He's trying to open another haunt. He's not currently doing anything right now. What happened to my belongings when I was in the tour? I gave my belongings to Russ. He kept my purse, my phone, my keys, everything, and then gave them back to us when the haunt was over. Why am I so casual talking about it? I've dealt with this already. Again, 2014. I've dealt with it mentally. It's something I choose really to not talk about just because I get so much judgment for it, but it's something that's happened to me. It's an experience. I'm not trying to just be casual about it, but I'm also not going to let it affect me more than it needs to because it's in the past. So I think I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't really have anything else to say without talking in a circle, and I don't really have any more questions to answer. So if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Also, if you want to see me react to my McKamey Manor experience, I'll actually watch the video. Just leave it in the comments below. If I get enough people that want to see it, I will do it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more spooky content. We got some creepy adventures coming up for you. In the description box below, I'm going to have the Surviving Life videos if they're still up. I'm going to link all of Loey's videos down below and my part 1 video for you to check out. But with that being said, keep it real, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.